Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, or Brazos UU for short. My name is Katie Womack. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am your worship assistant today. Welcome visitors, free thinkers, and free spirits. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people of any sexual orientation, race, age, gender identity, ability, immigration status, or belief. So whoever you are, wherever you have come from, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome and encouraged here. Honoring the value of spiritual freedom and diversity, we have no statement of doctrine. As a covenanted community, we agree to a set of principles that we all follow as we search for truth and how it applies to ethical living. Unitarian Universalism is a faith of covenant, not creed. This means that Unitarian Universalists seek and use wisdom from many diverse sources. We encourage everyone to visit our website, brazos-uu.org, which is our digital home in this time of great transition in our world. During this time of pandemic and in the midst of our planned building project, the website and these weekly services are our only home. As you can see there, the Brazos UU is always open to new directions, ideas, and partnerships. To find out more, you are always welcome to join our email list for updates from our weekly eCast and our monthly newsletter. And you can also find us on social media by searching UUCBV. For information about these, you can write our administrator at admin@brazos-uu.org, which you will see on your screen now. If you might like to contribute your musical talents, if you have a great story to share about your life's journey, or if you have a passion for social justice, we would love to hear from you. If you are interested in getting involved, you can find plenty of information on our website. To join a meeting and have your voice heard by our members, you can find links to all of our meetings on our interactive website calendar at brazos-uu.org/calendar, which you will see on your screen now. Our service today is about gratitude and what we have to be thankful for, even in what has been a very difficult year. We will also talk about how hard it is to be separated from those we love at this time.
With thanks for the blessings in our life, we come to worship. Acknowledging that there is pain and trouble in our world and in our lives, we come to worship. Grateful for the gifts of life and of love, we come to worship. For the chance to be together, to see one another, to hear one another, we come to worship. Friends, today, here and now, we come to worship.
Thank you, Reverend Christian. I invite you to light your own chalice, if you have one, as I light our chalice today. Please say our chalice lighting words with me. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. Now please join me in saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our time for all ages today is called A Letter to Nancy. It's by the Reverend Christopher Rabel. A 7-year-old girl named Nancy asked her minister, "What prayer shall I say when I go to bed?" He wrote her back this answer. "Dear Nancy, you may not have realized it, but when you asked me to suggest a bedtime prayer for you, you raised a very important question. It is a question which people have wondered about and argued about for thousands of years. It's a question which many people think they can answer, but they answer it in different ways, and many other people aren't sure it can be answered at all. One way to put the question might be this: is there a God or something who can change people and change things if asked to? Some believe God can give them presents or make it rain or cure their troubles if they ask God just the right way. Some people believe asking God for help is a way of feeling closer to God no matter what happens in response. Some people believe God will do what is best for everybody, and that to ask God for special favors is selfish. Some people believe God is the force of nature, so to pray to God doesn't make any more sense than praying to a tree or to a stone. Some people believe we ought to think only about people and not about God at all. As you learn more about the world and about others' beliefs, you will have to decide what you think about all this. With your parents' help and with the help of others, you will form your own beliefs. But you have asked me a question which can't wait until you've learned more or thought more. You want me to suggest a bedtime prayer, and I think I can help, for the time being at least. I suggest you think of prayer not as asking God for favors, but as an honest expression of some of your feelings. I especially mean 3 kinds of feelings. Sometimes you feel thankful for nice things which have happened to you. If you express your thanks at bedtime, you may enjoy them all over again. Sometimes you might feel sorry for things you've done or said. If you express your feeling of being sorry before you go to sleep, you may feel better. Sometimes you have hopes for yourself and other people. If you express your hopes in prayer, you may see what you can do to make them come true. I suggest that each night you make up your own prayer. It could begin, tonight I am thankful for, and then you could think of the most important things you're thankful for. It could continue, tonight I am sorry for, and then you could think of the most important things you are sorry about. Your prayer might end then with, tomorrow I hope, and you could think of some of the most important things you hope for and how you can help to bring them about. When you do this, if you want to pray by thinking you are talking to God, you go right ahead. But it doesn't matter as much as it does matter that you really mean what you say. I think you will discover that if you pray like this at night, it may not change God or change things or change other people, but it will change you and change how you think and feel about God and things and other people. I hope you will want to talk with your parents and other trusted adults about this. You may want to talk with friends of other religions to see what they think. Perhaps you will want to talk to your religious school teacher or to your minister. But whoever else you talk to, you will have to decide for yourself. How you work out your thinking and feeling about all this may well be one of the most important things in your life. But don't let that scare you. Understanding your feelings of gratitude and regret and hope is a wonderful process. Thank you for asking. Your minister, Christopher Rabel.
If we were having worship service in person, this is the time we would pass the basket. The church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. This month, we are proud to support the Brazos Valley Food Bank. If you wish to make an offering, you can mail your check, or for your convenience, you can donate online. On our homepage at brazos-uu.org, you can find our mailing address at the bottom, and at the top you will see a Donate Here button to click to see donation options. May each of us look into our hearts. How much love, how much generosity, how much faith, how much gratitude, how much hope is there? We give thanks for these gifts which we have given, for those we receive, and for each other.
Our prayer today is by the Reverend Elizabeth Strong. It's called Thanksgiving Meditation. Let us rejoice for the families who have gathered this Thanksgiving to express their thanks and to celebrate the bounty of their lives. Let us join together in support of those whose families are far away with distances of many forms. Let us hold one another in gentle reverence this holiday of Thanksgiving, for we are here to celebrate, to worship, to be thankful for what we have. Life newly born among us this year will carry our legacy into the future. Death among us this year has given us tears of sorrow and yesterdays to remember. Illnesses, accidents, and surgeries among us this year have reminded us of the fragileness of our lives. We have had marriages, reunions, reconciliations, and we have had and still do have our beloved community, our religious home, where we come together in love and compassion. For all these things, we give thanks this day. Let us join together in silence. Amen. Each week we take a time in our service to share those joys and sorrows and concerns, and this week in particular, our gratitudes together. We know there are many such joys and sorrows, concerns and gratitudes among us, so please express any of those you have that you wish to share with everyone by writing in the chat box at this time. We also, as always, hold in our hearts any words that go unspoken or unwritten. First, we're so thankful for all the blessings in our lives, for the gifts of life and love, for the gifts of those who love us, for the time we get to spend together them, whether virtually or in person. We lift up all of those who are suffering with the effects of this pandemic, for parents and grandparents and family members, for those who have concern about their children's safety, and to all essential workers, those who go out daily to help others to do the work of making this work. We remember that Black lives do matter, and we continue to strive for justice, equity, and anti-racism. If you haven't yet, there's still time to express whatever is on your heart that you wish to share with everyone in the chat box. We hold all of these in all of our hearts together. Our reading today comes from the First Unitarian Church of Chicago, and it's a little bit different than usual. Those who wrote it, Reverends David and Terry Schwartz, good friends of mine, are part of the video team that produced it. It's them speaking, and their words speak for themselves. So I just wanted to give it this introduction. Enjoy this now.
Here, Below the sanctuary of the First Unitarian Church of Chicago is our church crypt. Here rest the remains of church members and neighborhood folks, ordinary people who lived ordinary lives, often through extraordinary times. They were like us, with hopes and fears and dreams and uncertainties. They were babies and elders, and they are here with us. When we meet in person, the architecture of the building makes visible a hidden reality that our feet are held up by the past as we walk into the future. On this Thanksgiving, we remember the past because we believe in the future.
As a child, I was taught the Disney version of Thanksgiving. In a time of uncertainty, despair, and suffering, the colonizers were a people of gratitude and hope. And this is true and beautiful and incomplete. The real story of colonization and Thanksgiving reveals our nation at its best and its worst. Not just an aspiration to freedom from tyranny, but also theft, violence, and hate. Not only a wish to say we before I, but also a ruthlessly narrow definition of who we includes.
In every generation forward from 1621, the colonizers living in the land that became this nation failed to adequately answer, who is this American freedom for? Who is my neighbor? 4 centuries have carved a system of white supremacy into the lives of this continent. You know the history. The ethnic cleansing and genocide of Native peoples, a national constitution founded on race slavery, immigrants, right now, in this hour, imprisoned in concentration camps on our southern border.
We are, each of us, ordinary people living ordinary lives through an extraordinary time and with extraordinary faith. We remember the whole and difficult past. We remember this complicated present. We name it because we believe in the future.
Living on the threshold between ancestors and generations still to come, we are the inheritors of our liberty, hard-fought freedoms, a people of gratitude and hope.
Like you, we are a people committed to winning freedoms our own ancestors could not make real or could not even see as necessary. A people who believe that the faith we profess must be made real in the shape of our living together.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Happy Thanksgiving. It shocked me to hear my wife say just last week that Thanksgiving was next week. Next week, I said. No, that can't be right. It can't be already. Despite the dropping temperatures and leaves falling, the other unmistakable signs of fall moving steadily towards winter, my brain was not prepared to comprehend that it could be time yet for this. I'm just not ready for that. I'm also, if I can just say it here, struggling to feel gratitude this year with so much wrong in the world, even so much chaos in the things that are going well. For example, though my children are mostly doing quite well in their virtual school, I'm not happy that we're having to do it, and I'm sad that they're not getting a lot of the in-person interaction that they really need. And I am not getting some of the time alone for myself or for work that I really need. Not even to mention the world, with fascism on the rise. We can't even begin to tackle things like poverty or climate change, other oppressions, not on the scale that we really need to be tackling them. Yet here we are. Whether I'm ready for it or not, this Thursday is Thanksgiving. And though many of our celebrations will be much different, they'll happen nonetheless. Some of us will be sitting down to family meals, perhaps with fewer family this time. Others will be doing completely different things. A friend of mine recounted a conversation with his 86-year-old neighbor, who said she was eating Thanksgiving dinner alone this year for the first time ever, and that this prospect very much appealed to her introverted self. Good for her. And then, of course, there's the problematic aspects of our Thanksgiving celebrations. The story we as a nation tell of white people being helped out by natives, the very same natives that they and eventually our current country would spend the next few centuries killing, stealing from, and otherwise marginalizing and oppressing. That's some thanks there. So let's talk about that. Though festivals of Thanksgiving often connected to the harvest have a long and storied history around the world, the American version has particular roots. Roots in that shared meal that some pilgrims from the Plymouth colony and Wampanoag Native Americans, that meal they had in 1621, nearly 400 years ago. Shortly thereafter, of course, the pressure of European colonists, the diseases they brought with them, and their push for land quickly resulted in natives being killed and moved westward, the beginning of a 3-century-long pattern. We often speak of native peoples in this country only in the past tense, and that's a mistake. I want to point out that the Wampanoag are still very much alive and in this country. There are 5 connected tribes comprising about 2,000 members total, and there are others not formally enrolled but who have Wampanoag ancestry. Many of them still live in Massachusetts, including on or near a reservation on Martha's Vineyard. So to say that it's complicated this holiday is perhaps understating it. And so as I was expressing some of these feelings to a friend, he offered some possibilities for what I might say here today. His first idea was, gratitude is overrated. Now, maybe not the most inspiring message, but it had some resonance for me this year. Maybe it's time to express other feelings about the year that has been, or about our government, or climate change, or hunger, or racial inequity and racial justice, or parking tickets. Well, maybe not the last one. Maybe gratitude is overrated. But no, I said to him, I think that would be the wrong sermon. He said, well, you could talk about how real gratitude, what some call deep gratitude, can easily get overwhelmed by marketing slogans and pithy sayings, the sort of thanks prepping. As a child, I never really resonated with that thing where we go around the table and say what we're thankful for. Maybe your family does this too. I hated being told I had to be thankful. Like, if I'm not feeling thankful, will someone telling me to be thankful really change that? I don't think so. And let's be real, as a teen and young adult, maybe I wasn't as thankful or as aware of being thankful, at least, as I should have been. I was perhaps more self-absorbed and sure the whole world was going to be mine one day. Who needs to be grateful when you have everything, right? Humility was perhaps not my strong suit back then. But I've grown. I both have and can express my gratitude like an adult now, and still, this year is testing that. I note that at least now, in their preteen years, my children don't struggle with this. Yeah, they aren't always happy, and they don't like being cooped up so much in this pandemic, and they don't like not being able to interact with other kids and their friends the way they used to. But every day they're glad for things. They're thankful. They don't always say it out loud, but you can tell. The gift of children is to be so fully and joyfully into things. So present and there, sometimes to the exclusion of all else. Sometimes that means having no idea how loud they are, for instance, but it can also mean getting lost in building a Lego set for hours at a time, or going outside to play and being shocked that suddenly the sun is down. And when they say they're grateful for their new video game controller, well, they shout it, let's be real. That might be a little materialistic, but it's certainly heartfelt. They're more enthusiastic about those controllers than I am about most things. So in my struggles this year to be grateful, I find myself thinking back to myself as a younger person, as a teenager at the family Thanksgiving table, trying to come up with something for which I'm grateful that I could tell everyone there. All my gratitudes this year seem to come with an asterisk, a caveat, because they're so deeply colored by the challenges and problems to which they're connected. This year, despite the national and international political troubles all around us, I'm grateful for things like UU the Vote, in which many of us participated by writing postcards or texting voters or making calls. Those made small but significant differences that add up. And in a time when our very democratic process is under assault, that sort of thing matters. This year, despite the huge problems we face in tackling climate change, I'm grateful for all our small steps, for the green tip of the week, for work on the local level to promote clean energy sources. This year, despite huge income inequality, despite a pandemic and the terrible response to it that has resulted in more people needing help from food banks and other sources than ever before, I'm grateful for our work in things like the crop walk just this past week. This year, despite the pandemic that has made so much of what I used to consider normal now impossible, I'm grateful for time spent at parks and on hikes, and for Zoom and other check-ins. This year, despite being unable to gather with our church community in person, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be together virtually and to serve this, my home congregation, from afar in the most unusual of times. Maybe you have some of the same sorts of gratitudes despite the troubles that accompany them. I hope you have things for which you are grateful despite or even because of the events of this wild, wild year. May all of us find gratitude for what we have, however much or little it may be. It's ours, and we should be thankful for it. Amen.
We give thanks.
Now please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again. Thank you.
Friends, it can be hard to find our gratitude sometimes these days, but I'm thankful for each of you. I'm thankful for the blessing of a new day each morning. I'm thankful for each opportunity to make a difference, and I'm thankful for every second chance that has been granted me. Our worship has ended, and our service begins. Go in peace.